A lot of times I'm driving, there's nothing to do, and I shuffle through the radio before I unglue. There's a lot of red on ways, it's traffic, I'm screwed, and I'm wired a bit different than a regular dude. It's not a bad thing, I embrace it, it's true. The radio don't stimulate brain chemistry fluid. The Buddha found nirvana and the Four Noble Truths. Through a meditative process, right action he proved. For me, I require the use of a tool, a detector, pin, pointer, shovel, and beach scoop. I'm meant to work the dirt with my history crew, but everywhere I look, my interest taboo. Most people choose Bieber over Tippecanoe. What does a detectorist listen to when the radio is full of bad music and news? I need an alternative for me to peruse. Beyond Sight and Sound gets fantastic reviews. A metal detecting show where my thought bubble brews. Thank you, Josh Kimmel, for inviting me to a detecting dork out with guests like yours truly.
Are you looking for a high-quality beach and sand scoop? Are you trying to take your hunting to the extreme? How about an American-based company that stands behind their product and everything they sell? Then check out our friends over at XTREME Scoops. John has been making scoops for some time now and makes a quality beach and sand scoop to take your hunting to the next level. XTREME Scoops recently released their new sand shredder that works great in the water and on the beach. And if you're a new Equinox user, you may want to check out his Surfmaster X3 that can trap those small targets you new Equinox users are finding out there. XTREME Scoop's company approach is let's do it right. So do it right, buy it once, and go to the extreme. XTREMEScoops.com. That's XTREME scoops.com.
Hey boys and girls, we are going to talk about S&W shooters and prospectors. What is S&W shooters and prospectors?
We at S&W Shooters and Prospectors help people find treasure.
Did you say treasure?
Yes, treasure. Just listen to this amazing review from our happy customer, Jackie Sparrow.
Chuck was ship-shape and a pleasure to deal with. I was able to buy everything that I needed at prices that were shillings less than others. I found my 9 pieces of 8 in no time. Savvy?
I know you're asking yourself, why should I shop at S&W Shooter and Prospectors?
Chuck Smalley has over 45 years of metal detecting experience. He works with each customer one-on-one to customize their setup to match their skill level.
So if you always dreamt of being a pirate, contact Chuck at S&W Shooters and Prospectors and he'll take a great deal for you.
Eye patch and rum not included.
Caution. Please do not operate motor vehicles or power equipment while under the influence of this show. Listening to this show could cause side effects such as bouts of laughter, violent binges of cabin fever, and even dreams of silver and gold. Please be advised. Now that the fine print is out of the way, on with the show.
All right, we're back. We're live once again. Oh, you know, with the S&W clip, maybe we should put the eye patch and rum as optional. Oh, either way, I see that the bills are in. Imagine that. I just saw a comment that says, the candy corn is flowing in, and it's like, that's gotta be Frank. And sure enough, I look up and it's Candy Corn Frank. Either way, first and foremost, links in the description. Well, actually, back up. In light of my forgetfulness here lately, I had meant to mention on Sunday's episode a couple of things and did not, since it was a short show and a lot of things going on top of the brain fog here lately. But I had meant to mention on Sunday's episode, I do see that she is in the chat, and we do want to mention that we're keeping Lauren and her family in our thoughts. Meant to mention that Sunday. And it just kind of slipped. I did not get that done. So I will make sure and mention that tonight right off the bat. That way I know I don't forget it this time. Oh. But, you know, what do you do? And there were a couple of other things that I had neglected to mention Sunday that I'll try to touch on real quick tonight. Depending on what's going on, obviously, tonight is open lines. So, links in the description first and foremost. Our friends over at Shooters and Prospectors. Chuck Smalley, the man with the plan, and a plan he's got. I'm telling you what, they are tearing it up in Alaska. That crew at the camp was just on a mission. Ain't no way around it. When we see that, might as well say 8-ounce nugget found. I know I've been saying over 7 ounces, but realistically, you might as well say it was pretty much 8 ounces. Either way, it was big enough to choke somebody. What a nugget. Man, that's something else. Our friends at DETECTEES.com, Extreme Scoops, TheRingFinders, Nokta Makro website, Mini Horde commercial, All Metal Militia, Metal Detecting NYC, Detect Ed Outdoors, Ohio, Metal Detecting Crazy Spider Adventures. All on YouTube. Metal Detecting Beyond Sight and Sound Facebook group, Central Illinois Facebook group, the Relic Hunter Facebook group, I Treasure Hunters group, Detect America group. No, it's not listed as Detect America. It's listed as Detect America Electrolysis Bootcamp videos. But the links will get you to the same group where you should be a member. If you're not, go over and get yourself added to the group. It's painless, I promise. And I hear they'll let just about anybody in. It could help to bring candy corn. It could. Either way, the guys are live over there on Mondays at 8 p.m. Eastern. The gals are live over there on Thursdays, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. We've also got the link for Midwest Refineries, Terry Shannon's website, all sorts of stuff. Meatball subs Barb is cooking. It does sound good. So welcome to Barb and Carolyn and Lauren and the Bills and Mike and Paul and Mark and Scotty and Frank. We let Steve in so anyone can join, Frank says. And Mike, welcome aboard. Mike's been doing very, very well with sorting tokens. He's been very busy. You're killing me, Bill. You're killing me. Sounds like it was a regular smorgasbord tonight. Oh. Good point, Frank. Subs or hoagies? Interesting. But yes, Mike has been doing quite a bit of work categorizing and sorting tokens. And you can see some of his photos over on the Metal Detecting Central Illinois Facebook group. Welcome to Nelson. Make sure and check out their group. And blasphemy, Barb. Such foul language in the chat with that 7-letter word. Well, that sounds interesting. Didn't even have to cook or do dishes and still had all that. Wow. Maybe there was some paper plates and plastic silverware in use. Plasticware, whatever, sporks, forks, spoons. Yeah, whatever they are. Yeah. Welcome to Susan. So, I think we've got, I don't know, I could be wrong. I think we've gotten pretty much everyone mentioned. So, here's the thing. Right now, the room that the studio's in, I'm not even sure if I'm supposed to have power to. I may not. We'll put it this way. I may have not necessarily been allowed to put power back to this room for tonight. So we'll keep it a short show. Just to be on the safe side. That way I can kind of undo what I did before somebody else finds out that I did what I did before I get it undone. So hopefully if we don't have everybody lost with that, we'll continue on. And there's Carolyn. I'm not sure if I had mentioned her or not. Welcome aboard. Yeah, none near us either. Nope, no Chick-fil-A's near us. Frank says he's calling the electrical police. Oh no, the NEC is going to get me. At least there's been no magic smoke. So we'll see what happens. Either way. So, figured, what in the world? What is going on? Welcome to Tim. Good evening. Just wait for the smoke to start raising. Yeah, let's hope not. As a matter of fact, that's something else it's gonna take a little bit of getting used to, actually. Apparently, along with other things that are going on, at some point there are going to be 5, I believe they said 4-in-1 or 5-in-1 detectors installed throughout the house that communicate with one another. These things could go off due to smoke, they could go off due to temperature, they could go off due to natural gas. And the way it sounds, since they communicate with one another, if one goes off, all 5 will go off. And you can't get them to shut up until you find the one that initially started to go off. I'm not real sure what to make of that yet. I think that could be a bit aggravating. But we'll see what happens. I don't know. We're still at least a few days from that anyway. Welcome to Ridge. So we'll see what happens. I don't know. Either way, there we go. Okay. Anyhow, another one that I had neglected to mention, or at least I think I neglected to mention Sunday, is that one of the future prizes coming up could be on a board, could be on a show, could be through the page, could be through the Metal Detecting Beyond Sight and Sound group, you never know, is a signed copy of Terry Shannon's latest book. And how I neglected to mention that Sunday, I don't know. So I wanted to make sure to mention that. I did not post any photos. Maybe I can get a photo posted later. We'll see. Good book. Good book. Definitely. Barb says she's not bringing anything to sell to the Ohio hunt. Yes, that's right. I know you're going to be in Ohio, Barb. How is it that some things I miss, some things I don't? Either way, no photos of the book. Maybe I'll post one later. I did not post one. I probably should have. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. I don't know. Another one to mention, although we did mention this Sunday, and last Wednesday, as a matter of fact. But there was a package in the mail today from Frank. So we are in possession currently of one of 3 ugly boxes that will be given away through the respective shows. DA Live, Can You Dig It, and Beyond Sight and Sound. We are in possession of that ugly box currently. It arrived today. So that will be getting shipped out from here to the winner, the lucky person that receives that. I have not, maybe I should open the box and get a photo of it, but I'm sure the photo Frank posted the other day will suffice. Maybe I can just grab his photo from Detect America. So I don't know what's in the box. Maybe Frank can put it in the chat or give us a call and let us know. I'm going to guess, obviously it is the ugly box with the Thunder, the Thrasher, the cables, your carbon, your brine mixture, maybe some instructions for those who are not familiar with them. Either way, if you check out the electrolysis bootcamp videos, you will familiarize yourself very quickly. Now, like I said, I don't know. I haven't opened the box to see, but I can assume that there is probably going to be, at the very least, a Detect America sticker in there. And I don't know. I'm not real sure. Oh, let's see. Frank's got it in the chat. Ugly Box, Thunder, Thrasher, Cables, Carbon, your brine mixture. Let's see. No book. We're sold out. But if the winner contacts Frank, that's DA Frank Lopergolo, after the fact, I will get one out. So, basically what you are getting is the current model of Ugly Box with the cables, the Thunder, the Thrasher, the brine mixture, the carbon. I imagine some sort of small instruction sheet. If not, check the bootcamp videos. Probably a Detect America sticker. I don't believe without opening the box. I'm going to guess by the weight, you will not receive the AC adapter. But you can order those. You can, if you want an AC adapter, you can order those. Through Chuck, through Ronnie, quite a few people, I'm sure. And that is by far an awesome prize. I see Rich is saying, ooh, sticker. And looks like Susan has dropped a link for the boot camps. Yes. And Frank says, yes, there are instructions and stickers, plural. So, maybe a DA sticker and an Ugly Box sticker, I'm going to guess. And Frank says that he's got a little gift he's sending Barb. Don't worry, Barb, it's not candy corn. Many of us like to stack silver. Frank likes to stack candy corn. Keeps a hold of as much of it as he can, which recently, I do believe, somebody has sent another 5-pound bag. I don't know where all this candy corn comes from. Believe me, folks, I'm not the only one that does it, and I'm not the person that sent this last one. I'd have to guess in the last... and this is just me. I'm going to have to guess in the last year, roughly, I've sent him close to... God, that's scary. Close to, I want to say close to 15 pounds of candy corn. And it just keeps disappearing. I don't know if he puts a stash in his truck and loses it or what. He says 10 pounds. Maybe somebody sent him 10 pounds. I don't know. Maybe he's saying someone sent him 10 pounds. Frank needs to stack his candy corn in the shape of... Yeah, okay. Let's call it 15. Well, I could be a little high on that estimation, but it'll all even out in the end, because there's going to be another care package headed his direction here. Oh, I don't know, probably in the next month-ish. Something like that, somewhere around there. Very cool. And let's see. Okay. Now, for those who may not have noticed, and this is part of the reason why I say they've been tearing it up in Alaska. I shared a post earlier today. Obviously, the crew is done at the camp. They have disbanded and went their own ways. And Chuck hung out in Alaska for a few more days. And late last night, early this morning, whatever you want to call it, Chuck has wound up hitting himself another very, very nice nugget. I want to say, let me see here, try to remember. Yeah, he could be sending Steve's pull tabs. Oh, well, so Steve got his pull tab paperweight finally. Very cool. Anyway, Chuck had been out. He had went a little further into Alaska. He was going to hang out for a few more days. And it would have been last night to us that he found this, apparently, and posted the video, made the post early this morning. But he got a signal and recovered a 2 troy ounce nugget. Once again, another honker, a nugget to choke on, and that is just phenomenal. That is awesome. The nugget is very, very, very nice. So kudos to Chuck. And I'm sure you've heard us mention it here. You've heard him talk about it over on Detect America. Chuck will probably be doing a couple of shows when he gets back from Alaska, because obviously we'll be discussing things here, and I'm sure that Frank and Steve and Ronnie would love to have him on over there too, and I'm sure Chuck would not have an issue with that. But now we're talking, culminating total, combined total, from the camp and crew and what Chuck has been doing on his own, that's over 10 ounces of gold recovered on this trip. That is insane. that makes for an awesome trip for anybody. I don't care who it is. That is awesome. And I want to say basically 8-ounce nugget. There have been cash offers coming in on that. And so far, the guy's not selling. And I can't blame him. Because so far the rumors and unsubstantiated offers that I have heard is just, it's staggering. And they're not even getting close. Not even getting close. Candy corn tariff. That's awesome, Frank. But yeah, he's not even getting close. And let's see, I thought I saw someone. Yeah, Ohio Relic Hunter. And that 2 troy ounce nugget. He's right. You're probably looking approximately $5,000. People have got to stop and remember, when we're talking nice nuggets, absolute minimum is spot plus. But when you're talking nice nuggets, especially in the scenario of that 8-ounce nugget, since it is such a nice sized nugget, very aesthetically pleasing to look at, things like that, collectors will come out of the woodwork and they will pay a massive, massive premium to have that specimen piece. So now you're not talking just about the value of gold. You're talking about the value of the piece itself, because this is a very unique piece. When you can get a nugget that size, it's a very unique piece. People can get flour gold and subgram gold and small pickers and all of that all day long and melt them down all they want, because you're going to get more. Pieces like this don't necessarily come along very often. And when they do, the value goes up exponentially. I mean, and we're talking so much that it'll just make your head spin. So yes, Chuck's nugget, yeah, you're probably talking minimum $5,000. That is a good day. That's a good dig. That is one that that is something else. Was it a private claim they went to in Alaska? I'm going to assume you're talking now, as in the nugget that Chuck found. If you're talking the nugget that Chuck found, Chuck was on private permissions and areas that he has access to. If you're talking about the 8-ounce nugget, that was kind of a pay dig sort of thing. That is a camp. That's what they do. And yes, you're right, Richard. I have heard that. And he wouldn't even consider it. You are correct. And that's what I mean. You know, a lot of people saw that 8-ounce nugget and they're going, minimum $16,000 plus, 20% or whatever. And no. And quite honestly, for a nugget like that, even $30K is low. That is a nice nugget. And I can't blame the guy if he turns down the offers. I mean, I won't say it's the find of a lifetime, because you never know what else could be found. But it is a find that could be life-changing, for a little bit at least, for some people. Other people? Maybe it doesn't bother them. They're just fine keeping a hold of it and putting it on display, putting it under security display. I don't know. Yeah, that's because you have to stop and think, when the gold rush was going on in Alaska, and the saying goes, whether it was Alaska, whether it was California, wherever, when the gold rush was going on, they were looking for the big chunks of gold. They were trying to get as much as they could, as quick as they could. Things were messy, things were dirty, things were muddy. And if they didn't see it by line of sight, it didn't exist. Out of sight, out of mind. So when you get into some of these areas that maybe have been heavily worked, heavily mined in the past, it pays to go over the tailings piles, because they may not have seen it. Or, who knows, maybe they didn't see enough of it to realize what it was. Maybe it was in matrix with something. Maybe it was covered up by some other rocks before they even spotted it. And at that point, you miss it by an inch, you miss it by a mile, you don't even see it, you don't even know it's there. But with the detectors, we can go in and scan and get the signal and dig for it, and hey, maybe we hit it. Maybe we don't. It all depends. Although it does bring an interesting aspect. Because if it's, like, say, in the scenario of this 8-ounce nugget, did it get moved there and missed? Or did it come from material that was closer to the source at that point in time? Who knows? Maybe we'll never know. But it is still interesting to think about. And for the Equinox users, most of the gold, probably the vast majority of, that was being hit in Alaska, the subgrams, the quarter gram, all that, the subgram nuggets, the quarter ounce nuggets, a lot of this stuff that was getting hit with the Equinox was coming into that range anywhere from 2 to 20. So it just goes to show you, you never know. Don't put too much faith in those VDIs. Any of us that have ran detectors for any given amount of time will tell you we've seen gold show up all over the spectrum. All over the spectrum. And in terms of gold jewelry, usually, and that's not only been my experience or anything, but others as well. The higher the carat content, the lower it could wind up ringing on the scale. And you have to stop and realize, too, a lot of times the thickness of the ring, the metallic composition of the jewelry, not just ring, jewelry in general, but I'll use rings for the scenario. The thickness of the band, the weight of the band, the composition of the band, the purity of carat, all plays a factor on how that's going to ring up on the scale on your detector. Like a lot of 10 karat jewelry, it'll usually ring up there in a coin range, like the penny dime range a lot of times, seems like. But a lot of that, too, has to do with what the ground conditions and mineralization is. I mean, if there's a lot of square nails, stuff like that in the ground, well, you know, that could skew your signal, could skew your numbers. So that's another reason why you want to make sure to listen. Listen, listen, listen. Also, another thing I wanted to make sure to mention tonight. Garrett, people have been talking about it, that since Garrett has purchased whites, they were going to be bringing the Goldmaster 24K back. And Garrett has announced the release of the Garrett Goldmaster 24K. For those folks that are interested in that, I want to say, I believe it's up there higher in the frequency range, obviously, since it's a gold machine. I want to say 48 kilohertz, maybe? Somewhere right around there. I've seen videos of, oh boy. Well, Chicago Ron, how is it going, buddy? Looks like it was a great trip to Alaska, my friend. Yes, Frank says it is 48 kilohertz. So those of you that you're diehard Garrett fans, you want to try your hand at some gold hunting, you may want to try out the Goldmaster 24K. But you folks in the chat that have been following the posts that I've been sharing, I've shared Ron's, I've shared Chuck's, I've shared many of Chuck's videos from the camp, things like that. You guys and gals know that yeah, Ron, this is a number, just saying. Nice. But you guys and gals know, you've seen the posts that were shared. Many of the nugget finds, including sub-gram, were found with an equinox. So that's something to keep in mind too. Maybe you don't need the Goldmaster 24K. Maybe you can just do this. Well, how is it going there, my friend?
And then he calls.
Yeah, how's it going, buddy?
Good. What's up, my friend? What's up?
Well, it looks like you brought back some nice gold.
Yeah, it was a very good trip. I mean, the bomb of the trip was Mike's almost 8-ounce nugget.
That
he
thing
was shaking like a little girl.
Yeah, understandably so. That thing looked big enough you could choke on it.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. You could probably choke a horse on that.
Yeah, it was huge. And I'm sure by this point you've already heard about Chuck's nugget.
Yeah. I talked to Chuck this morning briefly. He said he got a nice like a 2-ouncer. So,
yeah, 2 troy ounces. Oh.
Yeah, well, it wasn't in my agenda this trip to get a big one. I think the biggest one I got was a little over a quarter. I think I had two that were over a quarter. I had 3 that were, between an 1/8 and a quarter, and then a couple of small ones. So I think I ended up with the flake and everything at like 1.3 ounces. So not bad.
Hey, that's nothing to shake a stick at. That's very respectable.
Yeah.
Do you happen to know, with everybody, taking turns with the slick plate and everything, how much gold was in the common at the end of the week?
So we did the slick plate for 2 days, and it was teams of 2. Me and Tim, me and Mike, Jerry and Tim, and then the second day Chuck and Dave did it, and Frank and I'm drawing a blank on John. John did it. So we spent 2 full days washing down, piles of dirt and stuff. And I think we ended up with just about 3/4 of an ounce in. I think it was like 19.7 grams of flake. There were enough pickers for me to sort it and put at least 1 picker in every jar. And everybody got like, I want to say it was like 2.3 grams or 2.5 grams each in a vial. So everybody got a little something for their work.
Right. Everybody brought some gold home.
It was hard work. Yeah, everybody brought gold home.
Some of them brought home quite a bit more.
Yeah, that's a few lucky ones. And they were a little nervous at the airport. He kept checking his pockets, and we'd sit down to eat, and I'd give him a little pouch to put it in. So he'd throw his little pouch up on the table. All right, keep an eye on this.
Right. Yeah, and I know there were some people speculating that nugget would probably be sold in Alaska, but I don't think so. I think he took it home.
No. Oh, absolutely. Mike would never sell that. He's retired. He doesn't need the money. He said, I would rather have it as a paperweight because it's something that not many people in the world ever touched, a nugget that big.
Yeah. Yeah, how many people do you know that have an 8-ounce gold paperweight?
1. But I guess that's enough. I know 1.
Right, yeah, exactly. Sometimes it is who you know. You don't have to know a lot of them. You just need to know 1.
Yeah. You were talking about the VDI numbers on the 800 for the gold.
Yeah.
And I played with the 800 a lot. I actually brought a gold monster up there. I bought one before I left, and I played with it at the beach. And it's a little weird getting your head around different sounds. For me, sounds are very instrumental in detecting.
Yes.
So I figured, well, I'll play with the 800 with the 6-inch coil. And the first afternoon, I got like a 1 signal, and it was the smallest of my nuggets, which didn't even register when I put it on the little scale that we had there. It does at home, but I actually have to go through and weigh everything. But so my first nugget was a 1, and then we went out after dinner that night, and it was actually a funny story because I'm known for bottom feeding, or I find stuff on the way to do something all the time. So Mike gets a nugget, and he's, hey, I got one. It's pretty good size. So I walk over, and it's probably close to a 1/2 ounce nugget. So I was like, great, nice. I didn't have my camera with me. I couldn't do any video of it. So I turn around after, high fives and congratulations. I turn around, I take about 3 steps, and I get a 1/4 ounce nugget. I was like, yeah, Mike, all right, way to go. He's like, you bottom feeding mother.
You're going, that's exactly right. I'm going to hang out for a bit.
That's what I do. And then I took about 4 more steps and got another smaller nugget. So that second one that I dug read, I want to say 13 or 14. It was about a quarter ounce. And then I dug a smaller one that was 1.4 grams. That read in the 4 to 6 range. Mm-hmm. So basically it was like the really tiny ones were 1s and 2s, which a lot of broken iron and little pieces of copper and stuff read.
Right.
There were a bunch of bottle rings. I think they were old, like canning jar lids where the center had rusted out. So it was just like a rusted ring. And those were reading 12 or 13 right in the middle of the area where I got a lot of my nuggets. And I also got 2 Indian head pennies and I think an Indians War eagle button with gold gilt on it still.
Nice.
But yeah, the ranges, and the iron was bad enough there that on the last 2 days, because we kept going back to the same area. Every time we went there, I got a nugget. The last 2 days, I hunted in Park 1, all metal, sensitivity at 25, and dug anything that squeaked next to iron. And I ended up getting another nugget, an Indian head penny, and that little button. So,
nice.
The gold molds are great on these machines, but, the better you know the machines, the more versatile you can be with it, even if you're not doing well in the whatever mode you're supposed to be using for that hunt.
Yeah, absolutely. The gold modes are great, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you need a gold machine to find the gold or even the gold mode.
Well, and I had also never used the gold mode. So I'm coming at it trying with a brand new sound and number and trying to figure out exactly what I was looking for when I'm in park, which is what I hunt in for almost every situation.
You know what you're doing. You're in your element.
I know what I'm listening for. I know what iron sounds like. I know what everything else sounds like. So I ended up trying to play to my strengths, and it ended up getting me another nugget and a couple of nice artifacts. So.
Well, you can't beat that. And realistically, I mean, you got to stop and think. There's a lot of occupation that has been there. There's going to be a lot of trash targets. There's going to be a lot of iron. But for what you're looking for, you've got to dig it all. And, I mean, you never know. You could find yourself popping an 8-ounce nugget out of the ground, and all of a sudden, all those trash targets are suddenly worthwhile. Yeah.
The funny thing was, Mike said that the big nugget was like a solid 18, was down about 4 inches. He got the signal. He dug with his pick, scooped out a bunch of dirt, and it came out with it, so it was in the pile. And he was doing the hand-over method where he'd grab a handful of dirt and run it over the coil. And he grabbed a handful of dirt, and he was like, wow, that's really heavy. And he went over the coil, and the target was in there. And he flipped the pile over in his hand, and the dirt just kind of fell away from the big clump, and he was like, that's really heavy for a rock.
Right. Is that what I think it is?
Yeah. And then I had just moved from the previous push and driven up there. As he stood up, I pulled up with him, and he just kind of motioned like, come here. I've got video of me walking up to him doing the walk of shame. I'll put out a video probably in the next week or so. I've got pictures of all the nuggets and some video of some of the finds and some pictures of the slick plating, and we did a lot of high banking. So I think I ended up with 6.7 grams of pickers and flour or powder gold.
Good job.
And the rest was nuggets. So
good.
Yeah, it was a good trip. It was fun. And Chuck's planning on doing a bigger trip next year. So I think he's looking to get to fill the whole camp so we can get 20 hunters up there. We should have a blast.
Yeah, that goes without saying, because I had mentioned earlier in the show, obviously, once everybody was done at the camp, most everyone headed back home or whatever, and Chuck headed further into Alaska. But with the nugget that he found this morning, last night actually, combined with everything that was found at the camp, we're already talking over 10 ounces of gold.
We were over 10 ounces without that nugget. So we're probably at 12.
Now we're closer to 13.
He said he got some others. Yeah, we're closer to 12 or a baker's dozen. Yeah.
Yeah. Because
that's phenomenal. Now, granted, 8 ounces is one of those nuggets, and
right.
There's a chance that nobody walks over that nugget this trip or next trip.
That's true.
I guess last year or the year before, somebody got like a 4.5 ounce nugget out of there. So there's been some big nuggets that have come out of this piece that they were doing the pushes along a stream, and they've got so much land there.
Right. And this was, I'm assuming when you're saying that they had just did a push, that this is the tailings.
Yeah, so it's old tailing piles from the 18 to whenever they stopped doing it up there, the 30s or 40s.
I don't know. When you see an 8-ounce nugget come out of the ground, I would just about have to think that he was probably just kind of dumbfounded at first, going, "It's too big to be real."
I think that was his initial assessment, was just like, no, that can't be gold because it's too big. There's no way that. And we were all like holding it, feeling it, and we were thinking, oh, maybe 5-6 ounces. I don't think anybody guessed high. I think the highest guess was 7 ounces, and then it ended up being just short of 8. So.
Right. I mean, that is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Not going to say it's the find of a lifetime, because you never know. Maybe something better does come up, but it's certainly a potentially life-changing find. Yeah.
Well, and it's not a quota system, just because it's not, the end-all, be-all find. It's still the find of a lifetime. An 8-ounce nugget, there aren't many people in the world that have found, nuggets that big detecting.
Exactly, and that's something else that I was talking about earlier in the show, because when that nugget surfaced and that post was going around, there were a lot of people saying, minimum 16 grand plus, 20%. But a lot of people haven't taken into consideration that that's a specimen piece. There's not a lot of nuggets like that floating around, which means the value goes up exponentially.
Right. One of the guys at the camp said that he knew somebody that would probably write a check for $30,000 for the nugget.
Yeah, that would not surprise
and that kind of money can be life altering, I guess. You get a new RV
for a little bit anyway.
Yeah, for a while.
Right,
it makes life more enjoyable for a while.
Yeah, exactly. Take a trip, or pay for a few more gold trips, or go to England, or
get some new equipment.
Yeah. I mean, look at all the machines he could buy for $30,000. Crazy. But I do like the idea of keeping it at home and using it as a paperweight. That's cool. Not many people.
I would use it to hold my chip bags closed. Hold the chip bags, set them on the table, put the nugget on top. Nobody's getting in there.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've seen where people have used silver bars from the Atocha. I mean, these things were like 65-pound bars, and they're using them in their home as door stops.
Door stops, yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, hey, an 8-ounce gold nugget paperweight? Yeah, sure, why not? Just to say you can.
Yeah. And just to be there and actually hold that piece in my hand, like I say, it's just that there aren't a lot of people that have held that size of a natural chunk of gold. So it was a thrill. Congrats to Mike, but it was a thrill just to be able to hold it.
Right? Yeah. I mean, even if you weren't the person that found it, just to be there and see it passed around the camp and everybody get a chance to hold it and look at it and all of that has to be an experience in its own to hold such a tangible item like that. I know when I shared the post around, because I shared Chuck's post, I shared your post, and you would be amazed at the comments of people saying, what is this, a rock? Yeah, sort of. It's a gold rock. Or, that is this real? Is this legitimate gold? Because it's so big that a lot of people, that's probably their first, like you said, with Mike, that was probably his first assessment. It's too big to be real.
Somebody painted a big lump of lead gold, bastards.
Right.
Somebody played a joke on me. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I can imagine too. It's probably a good thing you weren't on site at the time, or you might have got blamed for that.
Well, see, and that would probably be something that people would think that I would do.
Right.
But I wouldn't play with them. That's like throwing a fake gold coin out on the field in England just to mess with somebody. That's too big of a fine to screw with somebody about. It's first gold coin. I've seen videos of people who, buried a gold coin and had their buddies dig it up and then laugh and laugh. But that's kind of rough. That's the kind of find that people dream of. And then to do it and find out your friend's just jerking you around, that's a little rough.
Yeah.
That's a little harsher than I'd like to be.
That's just salt in the wound.
Yeah.
But that was a phenomenal one. And you said that rang up a solid 18. Was he running the stock coil then, or was he using a 6-inch?
Yes. He was using the 800 with the stock coil all week, and he ended up getting 3 nuggets. I think the first one was almost a half an ounce. The second one was a quarter, and then the big one. But that's all he needed. That's all he needed was 3.
Right? Yeah, you don't need many when you're finding them like that. Yeah. So he came home with almost 9 ounces. Well, after the common, probably 9 ounces.
Well, yeah. I think with the powder, the flake stuff, he was like a hair short of 9.
Wow.
So, that's a phenomenal trip. I don't care who you are.
And you would be a good one to chime in on this. I know Sunday when I was talking about this massive just choker of a nugget, there were a lot of people going, yeah, but how much did the trip cost? And it's like, that's not the point. You're not thinking about how much the trip cost at that point.
Yeah. Well, when I go on these trips, I don't feel that I have to justify paying, finding enough to pay for the trip, because I do the trips because I love doing them and I love finding stuff. This is only my second trip ever hunting. When I went to Gaines Creek in 2012, I think I found a little more gold. I got 9 nuggets at like 1 ounce and 3/4. But at the time, gold was lower, and I didn't pay for the trip with it. Now, in hindsight, the gold is up. The gold that I found actually did pay for that trip.
Right. And if memory
8 years later.
If memory serves me correctly, I believe, was that the trip that you were running a 705?
Yeah, I did the Xterra 705 with the 10-inch coil, the 10-inch concentric coil.
Right. So, I mean, the proof's right there. You don't need a high-dollar gold machine to find gold. Not at all. And they shouldn't.
It depends on what you're looking at. Look, it depends on what you're looking for. Now, the new gold monster, they're banging things like crazy out in like Arizona and Nevada, where it's a lot of small stuff.
Right.
Because the 800, I don't know that the 800 will hear that at any depth. And I guess the gold monster is good for really small pieces down, 3 or 4 inches. So you get down to the bedrock, and then you can pick the small pieces out of the bedrock, out of the cracks.
Yeah.
That's
absolutely.
like Mike Slater. Mike Slater's been doing that out in, I think it's Arizona. He goes out and does trips with people and teaches them how to use the machine. And they've been finding a lot of small gold with that gold monster. So if you do it all the time, those machines become second nature. Like any machine you use, the more you use it, the better you get at it.
Exactly. And for those people that are doing it all the time, absolutely, they can justify the price tag on some of this equipment, because like we saw with Mike, it only takes 1 nugget.
Right.
You only have to find that one item that pays for your equipment.
Yeah. And it doesn't happen that often, you know. Like I say, I've been running tours to England for 16 years, and I've only had, I think, 3 people that have paid for their trip with their fines during one trip. You know, and those were all larger pieces that the museum bought, and they got, you know, enough money to cover a trip, in some cases several trips. So it
absolutely.
doesn't happen all the time. So you need to do these trips you're paying to go do because you love what you do.
Exactly. Do it for the experience, not to make the trip pay for itself.
And the other thing I find is if you have people that haven't that have the intent to try and pay for the trip with their fines, they end up not enjoying the trip as much because all they're worried about is what that's worth.
Exactly.
And if they're worried about finding enough to pay for the trip, it's harder for them to get into the celebration of other people finding things.
Exactly.
Because
the pressure's
on. I haven't found anything yet.
Yep. The pressure's on, and they let it get to them, and at that point, they're not enjoying their trip, not at all. I mean, if you do find enough that it pays for the trip, hey, that's great. That's icing on the cake. But that shouldn't be what you're doing it for. If you're going at it with that mindset, you're in it for the wrong reason.
Yeah. I agree completely.
And while you
were
there,
England,
did you get the chance to play around with the 6000?
No, I didn't actually. You know what? I was doing well with the 800. I know the 800, and I felt comfortable with it, and I knew I could find it because I found that first, sub-gram nugget that first day at a 1. I wasn't worried about finding stuff, and I knew I'd get it eventually if I walked over it. That's the key, is to walk over it.
Exactly. You got to get your coil over it, and if you can hit that sub-gram, you're going, hey, I'm set. I'm good.
Yeah. You should be good. And the people that go up there and do these trips all the time, they buy the 6,000s and the 7,000s for multi-$1,000. But those machines will get that 8-inch nugget down 1.5 feet or 2 feet. So where our machines won't be able to reach that, and that's a hell of a hole to dig there.
Yes, it is.
Piles, rocks like pushed down on top of each other with bulldozers. It can be really tough digging in that stuff. But those bigger machines that cost more money will get you deeper and can get you big, deep nuggets. So
right, and that's where that price justification comes into play, because for a lot of these people, they can justify those costs. Yeah.
And it just depends on what level you're playing at. If you're just a hobbyist and you like to go out and find coins, then you buy an 800 for, $800 or $900 and you're happy. If you like to go dive, then maybe you buy an Excalibur for $1,600 and get the dive equipment, So it's whatever level you're comfortable playing in the game. Is you play to the level of your competition. Whoever you want to go up against, you got to buy the material to try and find their stuff before they get it.
That's an excellent way to put it. I mean, you'll get out of it what you put into it, and it all just factors on how deep do you want to get into it, how competitive are you, how far do you want to push that envelope.
Well, and how much time do you want to take to learn a machine? Because some machines take a little bit longer to learn. Some are turn on and go. You can take an 800 out of the box, put it on a factory setting, adjust the sensitivity so that it's running smoothly, and you can hunt anywhere. Land,
absolutely.
Water, whatever.
Absolutely, and go find stuff, no problem, right out of the box.
Yeah, absolutely. But again, you just have to spend the time using the machines, learning the techniques for digging and recovery, and not leaving marks and taking all your trash, all the usual stuff.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So what's the news on the England front with the tours because of COVID?
Yeah, well, so the last tour I ran was March of 2020 when all the COVID shit broke loose. We were actually over there when they shut down European travel. So we ended up going for the first 10 days, and then I had to cancel the second 10 days, and Gretchen and I were going to go do a pub tour of England. We were staying at pubs all up through York and for like a week. So we ended up having to cancel all that, and we left after 10 days. And I haven't been back since. We canceled fall of 20, spring of 21, and I just canceled the fall of 21 because they're still requiring a 2-day test, and then you have to test before you come back. If I were only running one group, it would be easy because, 10 of us go, or 6 of us go over there together. We hunt for 10 days. We come back. If somebody's positive, it's only 6 people that are affected. But I'm running 3 hunts, a 10-day, a 10-day, and a 7-day. And I can't take a chance on messing the second or third hunt people, because if somebody comes up positive and we get quarantined, the new group can't come in. So as it was my responsibility to cancel the hunt, move everybody's deposits, and then we'll just, hopefully in the spring it'll be better.
Yes, fingers crossed, hopefully.
I know I'm dying. It's been like, I've been to England for a month in the spring and a month in the fall for like 15 years, and now it's been like a year and a half since I've been there.
Right, you're going, I haven't dug a Celtic gold coin in like 2 years. It's killing me.
Yeah, I know. The oldest thing I dug was an 1880 Morgan in the last 2 years.
Hey, that was a nice one, though.
In the water.
I know. Chuck had told me about that, and I'm like, really? Kudos to him. Good job.
Well, the funny thing is, I actually found another Morgan on the same beach 2 years earlier in the dry sand, 20 feet away from where I found that one this year. So that's 2 Morgans, and it was like in a silver bezel, so it was either part of a belt buckle or a keychain or a money clip.
Right.
But yeah, so 2 Morgans on one beach, one in the sand with a silver bezel around it, and the other one in the water that had been in there for who knows how long. So,
yeah, exactly.
Treasure's where you find it, is what I hear.
Exactly. It just goes to show you just got to keep looking. It's out there to be had.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm trying to do new stuff. I went out to Aruba back in June when I got done with my shoulder surgery and got some nice gold. I tried the new hookah system out there, diving some natural pools along the ocean. We got a platinum and a couple of gold rings and a lot of junk jewelry and rusted up coins.
Well, yeah, it seems to be coming with the territory more and more.
Oh, you know what? I got to take off. I'm at the firehouse tonight, and we just got to run. So, hey, it's a pleasure talking to you. Be good, stay safe, and we'll
too.
We'll talk soon, Josh.
All right, stay safe, Ron.
Bye.
Well, that was a pleasant surprise there. Got to hear a little bit about the trip from Ron. And, man, what a trip. Yeah, that's right. You did dig the same year Morgan there, Bill. Actually, man, time flies. I hadn't planned on staying on this long, but, hey, when you can get a first-hand perspective of the trip and the experiences and emotions that were going on, we're going to take it. We're going to take it. And to hear that his plans are to use that as a paperweight on his desk. How cool is that? That was awesome. That was awesome. And it was a great call from Ron. It's always a great call from Ron. He stays pretty busy, so we don't get to hear from him too often anymore, but the door's always open for him. And yeah, I like the way you put that, Bill. But no, seriously, all joking aside, Ron, great guy. And it sounds like he had quite a good time, actually, in in Alaska. Looks like we've got a call coming through. I don't know if I caught them or not. I think I did. Oh, boy. Well, how is it going, my friend? Good find last night.
Yes, sir. I'm sorry I'm running late, but that's just the way it goes in Alaska. And so I thought I'd try and catch you for a late shout out and say hi to everybody.
Yeah, you just missed Ron.
Missed what?
Missed Ron.
Oh.
Chicago Ron.
Oh, yeah? Was he on yapping?
Yeah, he actually called in and was telling us a little bit about the that big
7-ouncer.
Yeah, that horse choker of a nugget. And I had told him, I said, well, by this point, I'm sure you've already heard from Chuck. And he, oh yeah, that was a nice one too.
Yeah, well, that overshadowed him a little bit. I smoked him, but not up there. I was working to get everybody on gold, and it worked out. We had a hell of a trip.
Yeah, that is almost an understatement. I mean, you guys, combined total between the nuggets, between the common, plus your 2-ouncer today, that's over 13 ounces that's being taken out of Alaska.
Well, you better add one more ounce to it.
14 ounces.
Yes, sir. I have nearly 0.6 in small nuggets I found, and another from the common. I don't know what I ended up with. Another, not quite a third of an ounce. So about another ounce.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Yeah, but I got into a little patch of small nuggies, and we were so far out, and I didn't have the camera, and that was yesterday, and that was on another site. And what did that come to? 0.66, 0.67, Troy.
Either way, good job.
That little equinox is turning it up, and the 6,000 did a good job. I found lead, nails. I was digging deep. I was trying to learn the machine, and then I switched back to the Knox and popped a 2-ouncer. And because you can read a number.
Right.
And that was yesterday. I mean, I got out of the truck on another claim, and my brother-in-law and Gary, and it was Gary's claim. I just walked across the street, turned it on. I got one little blip, kind of poked around there a little bit, and then it was a piece of lead. And took 2 more steps to the left, got that signal, and pulled a 2-ounce nugget up. So that makes your day.
That makes for a good day. Absolutely. Yeah. And that was a nice looking nugget too. Congratulations.
And yep. And the owner of the claim wants to buy it, and I told him it's your claim. You get first choice, and he's buying me out of it.
Wow. Good job. Can't beat that then.
So, no, Gary's just a great guy, and we were 129 miles north of Fairbanks up the Steese Highway, and it dropped temperature-wise. In fact, there was snow up there. Right. We didn't hit it, but there was snow flying. We were hunting in 35-degree weather.
Oh, my.
And we're only at that point, if you look at it, if you look on a map, follow the Steese Highway north of Fairbanks, you'll see we were just 45 minutes below the Arctic Circle.
Oh, my. And eating like a king, too, from... good God. I'm gonna go home and lose weight. That looked like one heck of a meal your nephew was putting together.
And Ronnie and Mike and Dave and Tim, they all got nuggets, and we got up at Nome, and then we worked a slick plate, and they were working high bankers, and we took shifts on the slick plate for a couple days, and did rather well.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and there's already another trip planned.
Oh, yeah. That's what Ron was saying.
Yeah.
And
so
everybody's going to have a blast, I would think.
Yep. And you deal with the weather, but you know what? That week turned out to be the best week of the entire summer, other than very early, that they had for weather. It'd break off. We'd hit 70. Heck, Ron was running the high banker, had to strip his shirt off. It was getting so warm.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it looked like you couldn't have asked for better weather necessarily, except for maybe the morning you woke up and it was, I don't know, 30 degrees.
Yeah, 28.
Yeah. Little
it froze the water on everything outside. That's Alaska.
Yep. You got to roll with the punches.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we all had a good trip. This past week was for Chuck. This was my hunting. And then last week was make sure everybody, we only had a couple glitches. They had some bad gas in the ATVs, little water leakage on the tank that it was coming out of. And two of our ATVs didn't like it, and we were out a little ways. But we had extra rides. I mean, everybody moved about. We just went in, switched ATVs, and they had to pull them both back in because the water did not work well. They got it out of there, and everything ran well. And they take good care of their equipment. They just had a bad shot of gas.
Right. Yeah.
So that's the only thing. You can't complain about the food. The weather turned nice for us. Actually, later in the afternoon, it cleared off, warmed up several days. One day it was gin clear all day, but that was a cold morning. And another day was very nice, and it sprinkled a little bit when we left, and everybody made it home. We had a good trip.
Nice. And we're certainly looking to hear more about it when you do actually make it back home.
Yep, that'll be maybe next Sunday.
Ah, nice. Well, it was one heck of a trip, and I gotta say, I love Mike's idea of using that nugget as a paperweight on his desk.
Yep, that is a paperweight on his desk. And I got an appraisal on that nugget, on the nugget I found today, and it sat me down. So, because it's a pretty nice specimen. So I was very pleased with that.
Well, and that's what I've been trying to explain to people is they have to realize that when you're talking nugget, you're not talking just gold price with a premium. The values of them can go up exponentially as specimen grade pieces because of the fact that they're nuggets. Like the almost 8-ounce nugget that Mike found. I mean, people would not believe it. It'd make their head spin, the sort of figures that would be thrown around about a nugget like that.
Okay. So I got an appraisal today, and they were looking at it, and it's not a jewelry quality piece. It's too heavy. It's 2 ounces. It's kind of blocky, but it's a pretty piece, and he shot 4,500 to me.
Yeah, that's kind of what we were guessing, was it was going to come in there somewhere around 5K. So that's not bad.
And that was him buying it and then reselling it. So I don't know what he would have put in for a resale.
That's a good point, too. Very good point.
But I had to have that because it's going to the property owner.
Right. And I know
by all means.
Right. And I know I know Ron and I had just kind of discussed this about that almost 8-ounce nugget. A lot of people, I believe it was Sunday, were going, well, yeah, okay, it's an 8-ounce nugget, but what did the trip cost? And we're trying to explain to people, if you're going up there with the intention of finding enough gold to pay for your trip, it doesn't always happen that way.
You're going into it for the wrong reason.
No.
You should go into it for the experience. If you find a nice nugget, hey, that's icing on the top. You can keep it, you can sell it, whatever you want.
That's right. And Ron and crew went out with the intent of finding nuggets, and they did. I kept things going. I got another push done. I got him down with Steve Pomeranke. We went on his claims, saw what he was doing, and the fishing boys got lined up, and they did their fishing. They fed the camp 2 nights.
Right? Yeah, it looked like Frank had a blast.
Oh, yeah. So Frankie got gold, but Frankie was like, yeah, okay, I'm done with the gold. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, it was fishing.
Right.
Or Tuesday night, Wednesday, Thursday, yeah.
Everybody ate well.
Oh, man, that pike was wonderful. So was the salmon. And Frank packed a big box of it home. They froze for him. He got a shipping container, and he shipped the box home. There's a couple chunks of salmon waiting for Chuck because I told him I'll pay part of your shipping, so I get a couple chunks of salmon.
Hey, there you go. You can't beat that.
Yep. So now, if you go with the intent of trying to pay for the trip, I can't guarantee that. I can say we're going to get gold if you work high bankers and the slick plate and that kind of stuff.
Right. You're going to work for it.
You're going to get from it. You're going to work for it. It don't jump in your pockets. And detecting, if they get some areas open and push a little bit, then you find that other stuff. So we're talking that trip next year. And actually, right now, I can take up to 20.
Nice. Well, I'm sure after seeing the posts, because I've been sharing the videos and posts from you and Ron, and I'm sure after people seeing some of these nuggets, they're liable to be interested in taking a stab at it themselves, if not for anything else, just for the experience of being there. Because like Ron and I were talking, sure, Ron may not have found that huge nugget. You know, Mike had found it, but just to be there and see it happen, and to see it passed around and hold it.
You seen him. I can't express anything. And Ron got some pictures of him. He was shaking.
Oh yeah,
is this what I think it is? And he dropped them. As soon as it hit my hand, I went, "Oh boy!"
Yeah,
and started cleaning. You could just see some yellow. It was really, really crudded up. They don't come out of the hole shiny all the time. They've been in the ground and moved around, and the stuff builds up on them, and he heard it, and he dug it, and he got it, and we started cleaning it up, and I looked at him and started laughing, and I was shaking a little bit. I said, that is the largest I've ever seen come out of the ground. That hands down is the largest I've seen come up. And we took it, they took it down to Augie. He was working down at the High Bankers, and I asked him, they were waiting for me to pull up. I asked him, I said, Augie, what's the biggest nugget that's been found here? Well, you know that 300 ouncer that they found back a century ago that broke off? I said, no. What's the biggest they've ever found here? And then why? He's going, why? And Mike turned it over and dropped it on that table, went, whoop. And you ought to heard the screaming. And then we showed it to Betty, and I said, don't leave. She was backing out as I pulled in. I said, you sit right there. She said, why? I said,
right, you just stay
got to
put.
see this. Why? And Mike walked up, and he goes, check this out, and handed it to her, and she just held that and went, oh, my God. And she said, that's got to be weighed. And that is the largest that's come up with a metal detector off that site.
That is awesome. That is phenomenal. I mean, and you guys, you had an absolute blast.
Yes, we did. It was fun every day. You were wore out. I mean, by the middle of the week, you saw a bunch of guys dragging out. We're going again, and because you're on high energy, stuff's coming up, and that kind of stuff. But that kind of wears down. After a while, because you've been hacking at tailing piles and moving dirt and shoveling and working the slick plate and high bankers, and There were tired bodies and arms and shoulders, sore low backs, that kind of stuff. But they all went home with an experience, and that's what I wanted them to have. And if any of you want to go up next year, contact me, and you'll get an experience. But I would recommend that you get out, do a little walking, do some detecting, and get a little bit toned up. And
Right.
It's worth the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then I spent this week, we got out several days. It had rained quite a bit. It was getting cold, but right now it's sun out. It's 62 degrees. 62 degrees, 63. Now I've been up here enough. It's warm. I'm afraid of that 90 degree stuff I'm flying back to.
Yeah, I was going to say, wait till you get home. You'll wish you were still in Alaska.
Yep.
It's been an experience, that's for sure.
Yep, and it'll be from the week is already set from July 28th to August 4th. We're going a week earlier, and hopefully it's Alaska. I can't guarantee anything on weather. Nothing.
Right.
It's just you're at the whims of Mother Nature. I don't know if Ron told you, most of the dredge crews couldn't work all year. And it hurt them.
Ron had
Steve was
said
working
that,
land.
Yeah, because of the weather conditions.
And we hit it right. All the guys got to go up and see the shutdown for the day, and they actually take a hose, and it's double matted, double slicked. The sluice on this is pretty big, and that day's run, they were estimating there was 150 to 200 ounces laying there.
Oh my! Wow.
Yeah.
That is
But to
something
see
else.
the depth of what they got to go down through. Yeah, he's on an ancient tertiary bed, and what that means, he's on an old river bed, and that cut that he made, he wanted us to go down into, we couldn't get into it, and it was narrow and very rocky, but we were up on the upper end of it. We didn't really hit anything on the upper end, but we had fun. And then we had a fox that was rather friendly, and I've got a whole bunch of video. I'm going to have John help me put together a YouTube blast on this thing, and we'll see how that comes out.
Oh, I'm
There'll
sure
be
it'll
some
come out
editing.
great.
There'll be some editing around that nugget.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yep.
sir. So,
I'm equally certain of that.
If you want to try it one time and experience Alaska, that's the way to do it. And I highly recommend it. And we're hoping for an England trip next year, but they canceled this year's.
Yeah, they canceled
So,
fall. That's unfortunate, but what do you do?
Yeah.
And that's got to be killing him.
Yeah, I'm going over there with my brother Ron. That was a lot of fun, and Tim and Dave and Frank from the club and Mike. We identified him immediately as our crazy cousin from Boston, and he was having a lot of fun with that.
Right.
And he fits it, let me tell you. He's a good guy. He's really a good guy. And a couple other characters in there, and we adopted two of them that were there from out west, and they were having a blast with us, and we all had a good time.
Well, you couldn't beat the company. Couldn't beat the company.
No. And one night we got that goofy game that Ron brings, right, left, center, and the whole table was hooting and hollering and this kind of stuff. And Betty come over, what are you guys playing? And we told her, and, the chips were $1 a piece. Well, that's gambling. But she says, I'd like the game. And I said, throw some money down. And it was a good time. It was a good time.
Nice. Well, we were certainly very pleased to see how it was turning out for everybody, and I'm sure you were too.
I mean, if you look at it, a group of guys that had never really done a lot of this, except for Ron, myself, Frank, and popping 13 ounces plus there alone.
Yeah, good
that's
week.
a big week.
Yeah.
And they told us, even the crew working there told us, you have been the most fun that we've had all year. You guys don't complain. You go out, you find gold, you come back, you hoot and holler, have a good time, and that's the way it goes.
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of what it's all about, is to just get out and have fun.
That's right. And that's what it was about. Dave and I, we took this one route out to a spot, and we were checking it with Augie the one night, and we decided to go back. We detected where they'd done a lot of hydraulicking. Unfortunately, they got some people coming in on the backside, night hawkers.
Oh.
They've got that problem up there. And then coming back, it was rough. I hit a rut. It bounced me up in the air, and I wasn't going fast, but it bounced me up and sideways. I hung on, but I was laying over on the side of the bike, and Dave goes, "You okay?" I said, "I'm fine, but I can't get my butt back up on here." He's laughing. He come up alongside of me, give me a shove. He said, "You ought to have seen that." He said, "I wished I'd had that GoPro going." I said, "I'm glad you didn't."
Right, just about bounced you right off.
Yep. It was interesting, but
it is kind of roughing it.
I mean, a couple of the roads there, the water's still running down. You're driving up small rivers, just water flowing down. You went through it, you deal with it. You wore plenty of warm gear and muck boots and that kind of stuff, and you deal with it.
Absolutely. You've got to. I mean, it's just like the England trips. You prepare for any sort of weather conditions because you're trying to maximize your time. You're out there to hunt.
That's correct. So I thought I'd give you a late call and let you know everything's still going. I got tomorrow yet. I don't know what tomorrow brings. I'm going to talk to Gary tonight. I don't know where we're going or what we're doing, if we're doing anything. Today was an easy day. I laid off for a little bit. It was a good day. And,
right.
We didn't get back in last night till 12:30 at night. We went out at 7 a.m. in the morning, had our drive up there, got to working on another claim. He made a cut, had me down in that, checking with the detector, and it's just full of fine gold. I mean, it's just, I'd roll it out. I was showing the guys, I could hear it crackling, and it wasn't center on it, but I knew there was gold in it. So that type of thing. And brother-in-law was with me, and Gary, and we just had a blast. And then we went up to his claim. And like I said, I walked out when the detector went on around 5 minutes, and I popped that 2 ounce.
Way to go! It's nice when it happens like that.
But then to come up behind that and find another one is like, nah, that ain't happening.
Right.
Then we stopped at a friend of his on the next claim down. He'd been doing a push. He was tearing ground off, so it's prepared for next year because of permafrost. And as he was doing that, and he had several of them, he is finding in that permafrost, he was telling us, probably 10 to 15, maybe 20,000-year-old antlers and parts of this and that and mastodon bones and all this kind of stuff.
Wow.
And it is what it is when you're mining. That stuff comes up off that. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. It does happen. You just never know what's going to turn up.
To us. He just cleaned up a couple of them. Yep. So it's quite the place.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's
the tag is true. The tag of Alaska is correct. The last frontier. You're getting out there. You're living out there on the edge. You don't know what the weather is going to do. You don't know what you're going to find or see. You stay vigilant. You don't want to be eye to eye with a mad muskox or look up
Right.
and here's a bear coming at you. You just keep yourself vigilant.
Speaking of which, they are asking in the chat if there were any animal encounters or if you'd just like to save them until you get home.
Well, we'll talk about those. None were close, but they were there. I spotted one the last call-in I did. I had a grizzly go up over the ridge. I was watching him.
Oh, yeah,
At a
he was
distance,
snacking on
disappeared,
blueberries.
Fortunately. Yeah, well, the reason he's snacking on them is the muskox herds up there. The fish weren't in, and he was hungry. He was hunting muskox. They had videoed the week before that same bear get his backside whooped by 4 big bull muskox.
Oh, boy.
They were tossing around. They actually got a full video of that. That will be coming up. I'm sure that's going to be out there. And it was in the same area I was in.
Yeah, you definitely have to stay alert.
Yes, sir. It's interesting. So
yes, it is.
A lot of neat things going on. We ran into a little gal the other day. We were driving up, and caribou season opened up. And Jenna, she came over and talked to us. We asked her how her day was. She was out by herself, hiked in. She did 13 miles, shot a caribou, cleaned it, packed it back out by herself. And she had pictures of the shot. Yeah. This little gal was a tough little gal. Her husband's in the Air Force. She grew up in Montana. Her dad had taught her a hunt. She said, I was going to get some caribou, and she did.
Well, I guess that's one you want to stay on her good side.
Yep. She can shoot, let me tell you. She dropped that caribou. She said at about 300 yards with her 30-06, and the shot was dead on. She showed us the heart, and that's where she put it.
Oh, my.
Yep, good shot. So, okay, I'll get out of here. Everybody have a safe week. We'll talk to you hopefully Sunday night, and we'll talk a little bit more about some of the goings-on up there. And anybody interested, let us know now. Because Ron already has 9. I already have 5. So nothing's in stone yet. But there's people wanting to go up. Okay?
And you said that's this or next Sunday, not this coming Sunday, right?
No, this coming Sunday, I'll be home. I'll be home Saturday. We take the red eye on Friday night, so I'll be home Saturday.
Okay. Because this Sunday, we've actually got a guest on.
Okay.
But we'll definitely get you worked in.
You can wait till the following Wednesday.
Okay. All right. Well, hopefully you continue to have a good time and have some great food and safe travels back home.
Thank you, sir. Everybody be safe.
You too. Thanks for the call.
Bye-bye. No problem.
Well, so there's even a little update from Chuck. Well, the surprises just never cease. Actually, the surprises will cease because... has time gotten away from us? But hey, like I said, when we're getting the calls and information like we are, we're going to roll with it. So, great call from Chuck. Great call from Ron. They had a blast. Good to hear about. It's been a good show. It's been a good time. Thanks to everyone for dropping in. Once again, we are keeping Lauren's family, her and her family in our thoughts. And we'll see what the next show brings. Actually, Sunday we are back with a guest. I guess I'll drop the link a little later, but we will be speaking with Lisa Sunday. Some very interesting blogs that she does and the things that she does with her detecting club and some of the experiences in the hobby, and even a survey that she has been working on about batwing buckles. So it should be interesting. If you enjoyed the show, make sure and throw us a like. You can follow us here in the wonderful podcast distribution services. Well, you know the drill. You know where to find us. Until the next one, we're out of here. Have a wonderful evening. Stay safe, everyone. We're gone.